Welcome to the Exact Digital Podcast, the show where we dive into how digital marketing agencies are using paid media to drive real growth for their clients and for themselves. From planning to ROI and everything in between, we uncover the strategies, stories, and systems that set agencies apart. Each episode, we'll talk with agency leaders who are innovating with paid media, scaling their businesses, and delivering results that matter. Whether you're looking to expand your services or sharpen the edge of your current offerings, you're in the right place. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Exact Digital Podcast, where we go beyond the buzzwords and talk about what's really driving results in digital advertising. Every episode, we chat with agency leaders, marketing pros, and growth-minded folks about the strategies that are making a difference right now. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Corey Rose, the founder and CEO of Search Geeks, a company dedicated to helping service area businesses grow through their unique acquisition engine optimization system. Corey is a digital marketing expert who's built a reputation for blending data-driven strategies with innovative AI tools to deliver real, measurable results. With a focus on exclusivity and deep market knowledge, Corey and his team have helped hundreds of businesses generate more leads and scale sustainably. Corey, thanks so much for joining us today. Why don't you start off by sharing a little bit more about your company?
Yeah, thank you, Tiffany. Super excited to be here. Really glad that you reached out and looking forward to jumping in here. So yeah, we have been in the industry for about 14 years. I got my start just building websites, and then pretty soon people were asking, "Hey, how do we get traffic to this thing?" And that is ultimately what led me down my journey of search engine optimization. Paid search. And just bring in traffic. So I realized that the number one channel for businesses that were like looking at the quality of the leads that came in, they were those organic leads that came directly in through Google's organic. And as far as we know, it is the number one best holy grail of marketing ever in the history of the universe. Because you have somebody who has something on the top of their mind, they go to the global answer box, which is Google still, even though we have these chat GPT and other large language models, but they might take 8 or so percent of Google's traffic so far. So Google's still a big daddy. So people take this idea from their head, they bring it over to Google, and they are then when they see the results over there. The idea is that you are getting in front of somebody while they're in the heat of the search, and never before the internet, especially, and with Google and their advertising and their search engine, just the results pages, are you able to match that intention with somebody who is in the heat of the search? Let's say they have a buyer's intent kind of query that they're running, and then you have your website there, they click on it, and now your website is teed up to make a conversion. So it's the perfect storm for any business. Businesses have made trillions of dollars through advertising and search engine optimization throughout the years in Google. So again, that is the number one, most important predictor of business continuity is, are you able to be found by people who are looking for you when they're looking for you? And it kind of, obviously differs from what is referred to as pattern disrupt marketing on Facebook or some of these other social platforms, Instagram, where people are scrolling and then all of a sudden they see your ad, and you are able. It's a great platform, but specifically for the work that we do. Serving service businesses like home services, professional services, medical services, legal. Those are the best leads are coming from those. While somebody has that need top of mind, they look for it. They're basically they have that intent immediately. So that is really the discipline that we went into, and myself personally, and then just with the team that I work with for like the last 13, 14 years.
Yeah. What inspired you with the creation of acquisition engine optimization? You've kind of touched a little bit on how it is different from traditional SEO or other marketing approaches. But like, what inspired you to do this?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it really is looking at the entire kind of ecosystem of where potential customers are and where they're buying. So they're on Google, but Google, if you have noticed, especially in the last 6 months, they've had their AI overview up there at the very top for specific, certain industries and keywords that were really informational with their intent. But over the last about 6 months, what we've seen is that they have rolled that out to industries that were not previously part of that AI overview, and then they started showing up for commercial intent kind of keywords. So this AI overview, if you go to Google and you say, "Hey, I need an emergency plumber in San Francisco," or a related search, and then you'll see, well, here are some brands that people trust. And so when you're up there and you get mentioned right there, that is that you're now considered like the source of truth. So people are going to Google because they trust Google to give them the truth, and so it's not enough just to rank a website in traditional search engine optimization. So they call that kind of the zero click result, or position zero. So um, a lot of times people don't feel the need to scroll down. They've got this brand mention, they can click into that result and they can get the business information straight from there. So traditional search engine optimization, you have to scroll to get beyond the fold. And then you look at the map listing, in that section right there is where you've got the top 3 local results that are shown in the maps. And we look at a 50 square mile area and where you're ranking in that across that 50 square miles. So so that's another place that potential customers are buying directly from there. They're ready to make a buying decision when they click into the map listing. So you've got the AI overview, you've got organic search, and then you've got the map listing, and then beyond that, you've got this the people also ask box, which is another feature. It's another it pulls from Google's knowledge graph, and when you're listed in there, that's another trust signal that Google that hands off to a website that is positioned to rank in those AI overview or those rich snippets, or the people also ask boxes. So there's several different ways other than just, again, traditional search engine optimization. So to kind of look at zoom out even a little further, when somebody lands on a website, and this is pardon my French here, but we started off doing only search engine optimization and paid search. And we came and we polished a lot of turds. So in other words, these websites that we would bring them all kinds of traffic, but they would not generate leads. They wouldn't generate phone calls. So that's when we decided to start really getting into conversion rate optimization. So now we look at there's 4 main points of psychology that goes behind converting a reader or a visitor into a customer. So we implement those directly on the client's websites, and a lot of times it's we'll rebuild the whole thing from scratch, just from the ground up, with the right architecture and then just the right persuasion elements right there on the page to encourage them to become leads. So all of that goes together to say, look, you have your website and your web presence, like this is your acquisition channel. So the entire ecosystem where your website and your business is showing up, we call it acquisition engine optimization. So we want to show up in all of those areas in order to give local businesses the best opportunity to be found or to be retrieved when their potential customers are making a search, and then to convert.
Yeah. You work with only one client per service in each in market. Is that correct? And how does that exclusivity influence your strategies and results?
Yeah, so the idea there is, say we'll only work with like one roofer in San Diego, and the reason for that is because our goal is always going to be position 0 and position number 1 in organic, and then in the top positions in the map listing. So if we are actively working with two brands to kind of beat each other, and we are kind of behind the scenes in arms race, then that for us, that is it's a conflict of interest. And it's not I don't think that it is ethical to work with two of the same competitors in the same market. I know I see a lot of these different niche specific website builders and chiropractors and dentists. They all have the same, a lot of them will have the same content management system, the same company running their websites. Well, you can only have one number one position. You can only have a certain amount of brands mentioned up there in position 0, and then in the maps as well. So for us, it is just more of kind of like on the ethical side, just on our side.
Yeah, that makes sense. That totally makes sense. What are the biggest challenges service area businesses face online, and like how are you guys helping to overcome them?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's always going to be the L word, which is leads. So,
Mhm.
what they want is leads. They want the phone to ring. They want to grow the business, just like anybody who starts any kind of business, right? Because if that's not happening, then there's sleepless nights, and the effects cascade down into every area of life. Your relationship with your spouse and your kids, the
Sure.
crew that's working for you. So we have these cascading effects that are impacted by the lead volume that local businesses are getting, right on down to their health. Maybe they're not taking as good a care of themselves because they're constantly worried. So the main concern for them is going to be making the phone ring. So one of the main things that we do to address this, and this is something super, like we've seen it coming. We've been studying Google patents for about the last 12 years, testing against algorithm updates until things break. But what we've seen is that when a brand gets mentioned up there in that position 0, then they now have moved into Google's knowledge graph, which means when Google's looking for an authoritative site for any search term that's related to one of these businesses, then they will provide that in a position 0 kind of answer. So what we've seen, and this is it's pretty wild, but we have these results that are now showing up for the money keyword kind of queries when somebody Googles a service in a location. I kind of mentioned this before, but it used to just be Google ads and then the maps, and then you would have maybe a people also ask box and then the local results. But now we're getting that position 0 above everything, and oftentimes even in front of Google's own ads. So and those can be triggered once a brand does show up in position 0 for some kind of informational intent kind of search.
No, I might be putting you on the spot here, but can you share a success story where your paid media strategy significantly boosted a client's leads or revenue? And you don't have to use their name, unless you want to, but maybe like the type of business.
Yeah, 100%. So I'll take one of our chiropractors.
Hmm.
The smaller practice, I guess, relatively. So we came to his website. He wasn't ranking very well in maps. He was like on page 5 in Google Organic. Was doing fairly well with word of mouth and other forms of advertising that he had been doing. So we came in and we plugged him into our rank map software, and then we started publishing these articles that are written with what Google has laid out as a requirement for expertise, experience, authority, trust. Google's looking for all these things, information gain on these articles. So we launched an article on behalf of this guy, and we had the maps running, and then the article showed up for a search term like "what does a chiropractor do exactly," and then that article started showing up for "what is a chiropractor" in the people also ask box. And then it showed up for just chiropractor in general, which gets Googled 250,000 times a month. So the topical relevancy of this high authority article flowed into the rest of the site, as always, and he jumped up to a position 11 in Google for his main keywords in the city where he's a chiropractor, and then he's moved up. Now he's on page 1.
Yeah.
just by increasing the relevancy in the industry, and by pulling him into Google's knowledge graph for the industry that he's in. So I spoke with him, and same thing with Maps. His phone calls, as soon as we got him plugged in, his phone calls and driving directions increased by about 800% in the first month. And I talked to him, and he said year over year that he's up by about 20% in revenue, overall revenue. He does over $1 million, but things are continuing to move up and to the right for this guy. But that's one, just one out of 100 of these kind of
Right.
examples where Google is looking for and looking at the content, and it's no longer like a need for all these backlinks, and then you get into this arms race, like who's got the more powerful backlinks. It really is now, Tiffany, about directly addressing the AI and speaking the language that the AI understands. And then once you do that, and part of the benefit is that the AI is trained to understand cognitively really the way that people do when they read an article. They want to know that this is an authoritative site. They want
Mhm.
good information. They want their questions answered. There might be multiple different intentions for people Googling something, and they want all of those intentions to be covered. So the AI is now doing sentiment analysis on the content, which is bizarre. Google used to only look at the keywords that were inside of an article, and then the number of backlinks and the strength and where those were from, and then that was kind of how you could win. But now we are directly addressing the AI that now full time fully controls the algorithm that ranks organically.
Yeah. So with AI, like how are you ensuring that your client's messaging stays like authentic and effective and not getting lost in the
Yeah, that's a great question. So what happened when ChatGPT came out, all these brands were like, "Oh, this is great. Like I don't have to write blog posts myself. I can just say, "Hey, ChatGPT, give me a blog post about XYZ. I'm going to put it up there on the website. I'm going to publish it. It's going to rank and Google's going to reward me for that." So the problem here is that ChatGPT, just for example, pulls all of their data out from 2023. And then, but sometimes when it does deep research and it says, searching the web, it's actually going to Bing, and it's pulling just a little bit of information from the websites that it's searching. It's not doing deep research. It's not pulling the kind of information that Google would need in order to say, hey, this is some good information. This is not just regurgitated information. And then so you've got all these brands that have been doing that, and on their websites, they've been devalued. They've diluted their page rank. A lot of these pages are not in Google's index because they're considered low quality. So the way that we address that is that so we have historically had human copywriters that were really, really good, and they would do all the research. It would take them hours and hours. We'd pay them hundreds of dollars on behalf of our clients to write these articles. So we got together with the best minds of our writers and our director of SEO, our CTO, and we thought, you know what, we are going to build a content writer. And this is literally at the beginning of the summer. I was having an existential crisis in the industry about how to tackle this stuff, and I was right here in my office in tears talking to Dad, and he drops this idea on me, and he says, hey, build a content writer. And I was like, oh, I'll have one done in 2 days. No problem. So that 2 days turned into like 4 months and 1,000 hours and lots of money. But what we have now is the world's only content writer that is specifically created for service businesses. And what it does is it pulls all the research that's necessary, but then it also looks at the brand website, and it crawls the about page. It looks at the home page. It looks at services, and it reads it to get the brand voice and the founder history. So it has all of this information in this database that it's called like a vectorized database. So it's got this huge database, and then it has the instructions to write this article. So when it goes in and starts writing it starts off and it gives Google what Google's looking for in the AI. It starts off with a short answer. And so it's structured 100% for ranking in those rich snippets, those features. But then it's also written to convert a reader into a lead and a customer, because it gets into the brand, it gets into the history of the brand. It might mention some reviews that are found on the website. So it looks and feels very human written, just like anything else that would be found on the branded website. It'll use your language. It'll grab certain terms that might just be unique to you, and it'll drop those in there. So the whole process is something that again used to take an expert copywriter hours or days and hundreds of dollars to now it's basically just at the push of a button. And so what happens with that is that Google looks at that and says, okay, this was clearly a professionally well written article by somebody who is a subject matter expert, and it demonstrates everything that the AI is looking for, which is experience, expertise, authority, and trust. Then we tap Google's knowledge graph and we insert some new information. Maybe there's new regulations, new laws, new technologies in the industry. We'll drop that in there with citations, and so all of those things go together to say, oh, hey, we have a solid piece of information here that we can now use. And then even on the human side, when somebody reads it, they're like, okay, oh, this is not an AI piece of AI content that comes out of the box. So as a matter of fact, I had our content writer, and so the result of that is we call it Prometheus. But I had Prometheus write an article for Exact called "The Best Podcast for Business," and it spit some fire for you guys. I'm going to send it over.
Okay, I can't wait to see it. That's exciting. I mean, it's fascinating. I mean, the conversation around AI even that has evolved so much in the last 6 months, and what you're doing to kind of spearhead this whole like content creation and it's amazing. It's pretty exciting. So I don't know that I totally understand it all, but it is isn't that how marketing is in general? It's always evolving. I was just saying the other day, kind of reminds me a little bit like when the internet first came out and what that felt like. That same sort of energy and excitement around that and the unknown. So what is there any other digital marketing trend right now that you're seeing that you're excited about, or anything else you'd want to share with our listeners?
Yeah, great question. Well, at the end of the day, what we're seeing right now is the biggest updates and changes in Google in the last 10 years.
Wow.
So we have seen traffic drop by 80% for local businesses, even though they've maintained their rank in the organic section. But the brands that show up in those featured snippets, like the overviews and the people also ask, they have seen their traffic increase by over 100%. So what we're looking at right now, Tiffany, is this is an existential threat to to many industries. But you can flip this existential threat into a competitive advantage just by getting your content on your website right. And it's not rocket science. It's not that hard to do. But to take it in terms of looking at would you turn this into your college professor, this Chat GPT article, or this article that you were able to get from some other AI content writer out of the box? Would you turn that into a college professor? And the answer is, for the most part, going to be no. And what we're dealing with is like 4,000 PhDs that work at Google that build this and inform this algorithm and have trained this algorithm. And we have business owners, unfortunately, that are thinking they're going to outsmart it with something that their junior high teacher wouldn't accept.
Yeah.
So the biggest trend right now in online advertising and marketing, 100% is it's a wild west, kind of like you said, like the onset of the internet. And there's a gold rush to get up into those positions and to be cited as like the source of truth in an industry, and then to be pulled into Google's knowledge graph. So this represents a monumental shift where and there's a lot of other language models that are using Google's database to to train their databases and their large language models. And so every time a model is updated, Google just deprecated their one of their Gemini models last week. So, but that model is now, they use that to train the new updated model. So when you have that already in there, you're part of the knowledge graph that is now brought into the brand new model. And that turns into what is called like citation gravity. So the more you have, the more you get. And the longer you go without getting them, the more irrelevant and your website is going to be kind of buried into obscurity, which is unfortunate for a lot of businesses. But for those that get this right, they are going to ride this wave for the next, 3 to 5 to 10 years.
Corey, is there anything else you'd want to share with our listeners today?
Yeah, so just the way that all of this information came to me, I've had my finger on the pulse again in the industry for about the last 14 years, and I consider that I am on a mission from God to help local businesses to get this right, because this represents an existential threat to their very existence, and I want to make sure that I give as much as I possibly can in order to help local businesses to survive really what's happening in the quote unquote AI apocalypse.
Yeah, it's exciting, to be continued, right? We
Yeah.
shall see what's to come.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Corey. If you want to listen and learn more about Search Geeks and their team, you can check them out online at searchgeeks.com or follow them on LinkedIn. And thanks to everyone for tuning in to this episode brought to you by Exact Digital, your dedicated partner for performance-driven media, from programmatic, display, CTV, paid social, or anything in between. Let us know how we can help. Have a great day.